Did the FCC just ban microinverters and as a result plug-in solar? And how does that solar-powered air conditioner thing work again? What about adding 32 kilowatt hours of battery storage to a power station that has a huge 6,000 watt inverter? And can you charge a 48 volt battery system from a 12 volt system? All this and more in this Community Questions Answered episode. First question from DIY Plug-in Solar legal in all 50 states. First look at the Craftstrom. Will zero export communication for plug-in solar inverter be impacted by the FCC decision? Well, as most of you know, I have made a ton of videos featuring plug-in solar and leveraging microinverters like this one here, as well as a slew of others. And all of them, without fail, need some kind of Wi-Fi communication to communicate, especially one like this that you're seeing, because it uses Wi-Fi to communicate to a smart power meter to automatically limit its export so it doesn't backfeed to the grid. Well, the language that the FCC is using is pretty broad, so I wouldn't be surprised if it does affect future microinverters as well. It does not affect the units that are already on the market. So everything you've been seeing my videos about are still available and still fully functional. And be excited because coming up here, I've got the next video showing the next system that reacts even faster for zero export capability. It's probably the closest to perfect plug-in solar kit I've tested yet on the channel. Next question from my free solar air conditioning and heating is finally here video. Since this setup is wired for self-consumption via the contactor, how does the system react if my solar array produces more power than the AC unit is currently demanding? Does the microinverter have an internal mechanism to throttle output to match the demand, or does it just trigger a protective shutdown when it senses an excess of power? There's two options for this. And if any of you haven't seen this video, I highly recommend watching it. You can see my solar array out here in the distance. I've actually got battery storage hooked up to it. The Hoymiles microinverter, and it comes over here and zeroes out the power consumption of my whole home air conditioning system. It's very epic and very cool. So option number one is to take an amp meter, just like you see clipped to the side of my air conditioning unit here, and measure on a cool day, like on the coldest day that you're going to be running your air conditioner, how many amps it draws, because that's going to be the least amount of current that it'll be drawing. It will progressively draw more as the weather heats up. Then you need to size how much power this inverter will produce based on how many of its little ports you connect to make it so that it will never produce more power than what the air conditioner consumes on that cold day. And if you do that, the power that comes from this solar setup is going to all be consumed by the air conditioner when it's on. It will still be consuming a little from the grid, but you're going to be offsetting the vast majority of it with your solar. So that's the cheapest, easiest way to do it. And that's the way I'm demonstrating in this video, which I will have linked down in the description. Now, because this hack here works with the Hoymiles microinverter that you've seen a number of times on my channel, there's another option that you can use. And that would be their smart power meter right here. It has some CT clamps that you could clamp around the wires going to your air conditioner, or if you have access to your main wires in your panel, you could potentially clamp those as well. So still make it sure that the solar does not turn on unless the air conditioner is running, but then you could add this additional layer of protection with the CT clamps and the smart power meter to ensure that there's no backfeeding that happens and have the ability to throttle dynamically the output of that microinverter. So yes, you can throttle the output to match the demand, which costs a little bit more, or you can just physically limit the amount of power it produces so that it never exceeds that of the air conditioner. This power station just beat EcoFlow with 95% efficiency. Is there a battery expansion hack for the 6000 like the EcoFlow? So you were talking about this PowerMax 6000 power station that I showed in that video, which is an insanely powerful 6,000 watt, 240 volt portable power station. Unfortunately, I could not find an easy way to hack the extra battery ports on this unit, because it does have those. However, it has a very capable and robust DC input. So you can see I've actually got it sitting here on top of my Doken Panda battery that's 32 kilowatt hours. It's dumping in about 1,384 watts to the Oscal. Now, of course, if the Oscal is running at 6,000 watts, it's going to deplete its internal battery, even with 1300 watts coming in. But my argument in the video about this Oscal is it's perfect for heavy applications like providing backup power to well pumps, right? Because a lot of those are 240 volt. Well, this has 240 volt, 6000 watt capability. Remembering though that well pumps turn on for, maybe just a couple of seconds to maybe a minute or two and then shut off. And so you could easily run a well pump with this and then trickle in a pretty decent stream of power of over 1300 watts and keep this battery topped off with cheap external batteries so that you could basically run your well pump for a really, really long time off grid or whatever when the grid is down. And it's super easy to get it all set up. Like I said, I'll leave a link to this whole video so you can see, because I go over the connection process and I even show me attempting to try to hack the extra battery ports on the system. So anyway, take a look at that video linked down in the description. It's a very capable portable power station. Another question from this power station just be EcoFlow. Great video. Which power station in this power range would accept the most solar? That's a valid question, and I have not tested every single one that's on the market in the family of the power station that you're talking about. The largest solar input power station in this size category that I have personally tested would be the EcoFlow Delta 3 Ultra Plus. That's because it has two MPPT solar charge controllers, each good for up to 60 volt, 18 amps each. So again, that's the power station with the highest solar input capability that's built in that I have personally tested on the channel. I would certainly be interested in hearing other people's thoughts and recommendations for other units in the 3 kilowatt hour range that has even higher solar input to help answer this question down in the comments. Next question from my power stations are ripoff, DIY solar is a headache, now what video? How can you charge a 48 volt battery with a 12 volt system like an alternator on a vehicle? I get this question a lot in my consultations and what have you, and it's a valid question. There's two answers to that, and I think one is far superior to the other. I know there's going to be some mixed opinions on this, but let me tell you my thoughts. So option one would be to get some kind of DC to DC charger like you're seeing right here. This one happens to be from Victron, but look at the fine print here, 12 to 48 volts, which is great. 8 amps is all, 380 watts. That is painfully slow, so it's only going to give you 380 watts of power transfer from your 12 volt source to the 48 volt source. So I guess it's great if you want just kind of a trickle charge over an extended period of time, but like a single golf cart battery holds 5 kilowatt hours. That's going to take hours and hours and hours to charge from dead to full at only 380 watts. And so that's where method number 2 comes in, which is slightly less efficient, but it's tremendously faster and even cheaper. So first, I'm going to assume that because you're trying to integrate 12 volt with the 48 volt, you're going to be using it in a van or an RV or something like that. You alluded to, charging it with an alternator. So first, I'm going to say be sure and get a golf cart battery as your 48 volt battery because it's built to be in high vibration environments like a vehicle. And if you get the right kit, like this one from Temgo here, it's going to come with a charger. It's a 120 volt charger. It just plugs into a standard outlet and it charges the battery at 18 amps. That's just under 1000 watts. So you already have the 48 volt battery. It comes with this really nice charger. So then I would purchase one of these high quality yet very cost effective 12 volt inverters. You can see right now I am showing the 3000 watt model simply because it's 169 bucks, which makes it the same price as their 2000 watt model. And this 3000 watt model is crazy efficient. I have a whole testing and review video that I'll leave a link to down in the description with this particular inverter. You hook this 12 volt inverter up to your 12 volt system. It comes with the nice little remote screen so you can turn the inverter off and on. You don't need it on all the time, right? Just when you're going to charge your 48 volt system, you flip it on. You plug your 48 volt 18 amp charger into it. Now you're transferring 1000 watts of power over to your 48 volt battery. And here's the crazy thing, 169 bucks out the door for this 3000 watt inverter. You already have the charger that came with your golf cart battery, and this DC to DC charger is 243 bucks. So you're actually coming out money ahead buying that inverter and getting a charge rate that's tremendously faster than the DC to DC charger. Now, everyone's argument against my thought process is going to be about efficiencies, right? because you're going to lose power when you convert from your 12 volt to the 120 volt in the inverter. And then you're going to lose even more power when you convert back from that 120 volt power to 48 volt power. And that's 100% true. You're not going to get around that. And so if peak efficiency is your goal, then a DC to DC charger is the way to go with that. It's just going to be painfully slow and more expensive. But I know for me personally, and a lot of other people that I've consulted with, the verdict is who cares about the inefficiencies, especially when you're driving or whatever. It may cost you a little gas mileage or whatever, but at very least, you're going to have a pretty decently charged battery by the time you get to where you're going versus just a teeny tiny little trickle going into it. Anyway, hash it out here in the comments, you guys, and tell me why you think this idea is a good one or why you think the DC to DC charger is better, because I know a lot of you are going to have thoughts and opinions on this. And guys, look how close we are to crossing the 80,000 subscriber mark. Get everyone you know to hurry and subscribe, because as soon as we cross that threshold, I'm going to be scheduling an epic live stream where I'll be able to answer some of your questions live. It comes through on the chat, be able to kind of hang out together. And most exciting for all of you to celebrate, WattCycle is going to be giving away one of their server rack batteries to one of you. And that drawing and what have you is all going to happen on that live stream. So be excited, stay tuned for that, and get me across the finish line here to 80K. And then please continue to drop questions in comments, because obviously I address some of those every week in my question and answer videos. But I also have catered help to any of you that would like it. You can sit down for a one-on-one hour-long video consultation with me. You can submit a guaranteed to be answered question to me, or one of the best free resources I have available to you is right here, my custom YouTube channel search engine. So just come to this search bar here. Let's say you want to learn about Bluetti, maybe the Apex 300. Well, now in the results, you're going to get timestamp parts of the video that you can jump to immediately anytime I've discussed the Bluetti Apex 300. This has been really helpful to my YouTube channel family, so take advantage of it. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and hype on your way out, you guys. I want to say a huge thank you to all of you for your continued support. I can't wait to hook one of you guys up with the free battery coming up here. And as always, we've got epic content in the pipeline coming up. You guys are going to absolutely love. So stay tuned, stay safe, and we'll catch you all next time.